We are now live streaming on the Mr. Stream Thing GTP. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mark and Andre Show Declassified. We'll be getting here pretty soon as we take the time now to share upon our various social media outlets.
And to give a small prayer before we start.
He's
like, wait, This is an unsanctioned episode of the Mark and Andre Show. There's no show sponsors. No one's going to consent to this episode. This episode never happened to some. Some people will deny this episode ever even happened. But you will be the lucky ones to get a preview of the declassified Mark and Andre files. Dun dun dun. Put it over. After something serious, just
you don't end with dun dun dun.
Well, yeah, I got to. Who else is going to score this? The sound lad can only do so much.
I know. We're getting pulled in all directions over here.
He's doing
his hands are tied.
Oh man. I'd like to thank Sound Lad number 1 for taking the time out to get this going together here on the Mark and Andre Show.
Welcome to Cray Studios, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you doing the Mark and Andre Show here because of outside happenings that may or may not interfere with tomorrow's broadcast.
We'd like to thank nobody for this declassified episode of the Mark and Andre Show. This is one of the unsanctioned episodes. This episode was banned by several government entities, up to and not including the CIA, the
ICA,
the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration has been on our backs.
The ABA,
the situation. The American Basketball Association and several independent wrestling promotions have denied their involvement in this episode. So feel free to tune in live here on the Mark and Andre Show in just a minute.
We are currently baking at a steady 140 degrees
in the sauna. We're here at the 24-hour fitness sauna live here in Eastvale, California.
This is only, that's a weird place to bring up.
Well, it sounds like a place where UFOs will harbor.
In Eastvale, California?
South Central Eastvale.
From Eastvale, California. Some of the most disturbing footage ever caught on camera. The most horrific bulbs of light in the sky.
terrorizing everyone in the neighborhood.
You have to see an incident in Lake County. You have to see that.
Oh, in Dade County?
No,
you know what happened?
The fake, the fake YouTube video.
I can only take in so much fake news, dude.
Why?
Because it's debilitating.
Debilitating.
I got my way of handling things.
That is true. What was that? Did you just try to light a bonfire in the middle of the...
What were you doing?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the controlled burns.
All right. I think we are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just take a little sip of my Gatorade here.
My 5% ABV Gatorade.
Yes, indeed.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Oh, more than ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Mark and Andre Show. This is the Mark and Andre Show Declassified. And by declassified, we mean that this is a non-sanctioned podcast. We do not have any affiliations to any sponsors. No one's going to pick up this... no one's going to pick up any sponsorship for this podcast simply because of the content you're about to witness ahead.
Or this episode might not even exist, to be honest.
They might delete this episode shortly after. This is going on the pirate streams of YouTube. This is going through several outlets. We had to bypass several IP addresses and scramble several streams.
Several streams.
Several egg streams to make a giant conspiracy omelet. That of which is the Mark and Andre Show Declassified. We also want to provide a disclaimer that the information you're about to hear might be a little
heart-wrenching, sensitive to overweight women.
You shouldn't be pregnant while listening to this Mark and Andre Show Declassified, nor watching it. For this is going to be something of intense information and intense, very graphic nature. Viewer discretion is advised. Tonight's episode is called UFOs, More Common and More Closer Than You Think. Nice cue on that graphic there.
Thank you.
There, sound lad number 1.
Perfect timing.
With me is my co-host, my non-sanctioned co-host, by the way, Andre Gaynor, founder of Lyricology 101. Andre.
Mm-hmm.
And with us on the board, checking in, is sound lad number 1.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Whoa.
Now, the idea for this episode came to me because I basically was binge watching a lot of unsolved mysteries
On peyote.
Yeah. I had a vision quest of binge watching a lot of unsolved mysteries, and you know what? I came to the conclusion, well,
these mysteries can't be solved.
Some
like
of them
he figured it out.
Mostly all the ones that involve crime get solved, but everything of the unexplained doesn't.
Obviously.
And they ride it out to like, will we ever find out the mysteries? So the last few days I was discussing with a lot of people about the paranormal. I went into even talking to several people about, have you ever been involved in like observing a UFO by yourself or with someone else? Or have you ever been a part of missing time? Missing time is where I'll give a quick example of missing time. Say I told Andre to meet me in front of the grocery store at 5 o'clock, and he's there from 5 to 5:30. Mm-hmm. Andre then calls me and says, "Where were you at? You were supposed to pick me up in front of the grocery store." Andre says, "No." Then I say, "Well, I was there, and you weren't there at all. You
never came."
And Andre was there the whole time. Mm-hmm. So to account for the 30 minutes of missing time, Andre can attest to it, but everyone else can't.
Right.
Missing time usually associates with people going missing, but a lot of people always go to the other alternative, which is alien abductions. Mm-hmm. So the last few days I was discussing with people about, have you ever witnessed any UFOs? Have you ever witnessed anything suspicious going on in the night sky? And to my surprise, there was a bunch of people that actually came through and let me know about their situation.
Yeah, he asked about 2,000, 3,000 friends of ours, and I think we got about 98% of them had some kind of story to tell, right?
A lot of people have something to say,
mm-hmm.
whether it be watching something in the night sky that ended up being a regular plane, or maybe a small gnat that mm-hmm. goes inside their house and they can't identify it.
Right.
It was only a small local search, like Andre mentioned. It was a small local search of my friends, and I personally feel that my demographic doesn't necessarily canvass coast to coast.
Right.
But for the small amount that actually participated and actually gave me personal accounts of their UFO stories, mm-hmm. it was just surprising to me.
Right.
Like, people actually would come up and
they were just
be
down,
willing to tell these stories, and
they had maps and charts and scars.
Not that far, but they didn't give me longitude and latitude.
Like, look at my tit, dude. It's fucking messed up.
It's like, dude, that's just a birthmark. No, aliens, man. And keep in mind, going on to that point, is that the people that I got stories from weren't actually transients, human. No degenerates, no guys sitting on a bus stop bench saying, "Man, I've seen some things, man. Mm-hmm. I've seen some things." You know,
with aluminum foil around his teeth
and aluminum foil on his head.
Right.
There's actually legit people that were able to come through and give me very detailed stories, and we're going to take care of them here on the Mark and Andre Show, Declassified. How are you doing over there, Sound Lad? You got any paranormal stories that you want to get out of the way first before we go into my
Paranormal
forensic?
or alien stories?
Well, anything UFO related. Have you personally witnessed anything going on in the night sky?
Me, no. I do sometimes, stare at the sky. It's pretty crazy to just sit on your car.
It's pretty fun up there.
Yeah, it's wild. But no, I never personally had any stories. But my mother believes she was abducted, and she has a very detailed account of what happened. She believed it happened, and it's pretty crazy. Yeah, at the risk of sounding insane, some of these detailed stories that people have.
Yeah.
Some seem kooky, some seem a little off the wall, but at the end of the day, when you're actually being told these stories, they're as genuine as they can be.
Right, and you can feel the conviction too. Like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
This isn't some shit they made up.
Exactly. So I'm not here judging. I'm not here telling them that didn't happen. Especially with my mom, because she's said this since I was 8 years old, and it's definitely spooky. It's a little weird, but I personally haven't gone through anything. So no, but I've heard
With her abduction story, did she have the effect of missing time?
Yeah. Well, it had happened in her sleep, but she had we'll even ask her.
Well, generally speaking, like she couldn't account for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, when it happened.
Okay.
When it happened, though, but it's not like it's a reoccurring thing, which I hear people talking about, that they keep missing, or it keeps happening over and over.
Yeah,
it was like a one-time.
After
year.
one visitation, they just keep coming back.
Yeah.
The crazy thing that comes back, the question actually that comes back to us is, why don't people come and be more upfront with this nowadays? You feel that with social media information being shared at a rapid pace, people would be more easygoing about letting people know about strange things that happen. I mean, look at people that check in at grocery stores. Why would people end up doing that go to the other extreme? People have always shared even getting in accidents on social media. Why don't they even...
Well, they share their crazy stories of being...
Take it to that extreme.
I think there's some logic behind it. It's just people aren't comfortable with going that far with what may or may not have happened to them. I think another thing is just people really have attached alien activity to fantasy and to film. So it's almost like film manipulated people into believing that that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens. So when a person thinks that they had an experience, it's just so far-fetched that people don't want to fuck with it. It goes against all like science and everything we've been taught logically since childhood. So fuck around and say some shit about getting abducted, no one's going to believe you. And if they do believe you, they're probably crazy.
But what these people probably don't realize is that there's a lot more people experiencing this than they think.
Right.
So for them to come out because they don't want to sound weird,
right?
It's kind of contradictory because they might be able to share stories with more people who had the same experience.
There's weird shit happening all over the place, man. Come on.
I just want to see a Snapchat story start from, oh shit, look at that shit in the sky, and then like all you see is,
oh shit, it's getting me, bitch.
They're snapping inside a white room. It's like, I don't know what they're doing to me. I don't know what's gonna go on. Oh damn! Like, all you see is like a big metal apparatus like go right behind them or something. But
my battery's at 50%.
I have to put it in airplane mode. We're going up high in the sky right now. I don't want to interfere with their communications.
And then the last snap, we cool, y'all. It wasn't even that bad, man. They're good folks.
You guys should come up.
Y'all should come through. Eyes all big.
Roll through. Everyone's invited.
At the end of it, he's all just like slowly progressing to being an alien gray. Oh, they just transform us to pilot their planes.
They just made your boy smarter. That's all it is. That's why my head's so big.
Big ass head.
My eyes are bulging and black because I can see better, yo.
So I want to get two stories out of the way from the multitude of all the stories that I got. I want to kind of keep it to two because these ones were the most detailed.
Okay.
The ones that I had from, let's start with my friend Oscar. I won't give out his last name to protect the...
and his first name is a pseudonym. It's not real.
Yeah. His first name's actually an acronym for something long that I can't explain.
Mr. Meyer?
That's actually unexplainable, too.
Mr. Meyer's story?
Maybe make a hotline for abductees or a counseling center. That's a good idea. There's probably a couple UFOologists that actually have...
a A counseling center?
Well, not a counseling
Just
center,
with the
but
men in black waiting to erase memories?
for
No sunglasses inside, please.
I know for you to actually report the story, because there's actually people that have time to actually take accounts and roll up to your house and give attention to detail, for you to detail the event to them.
Right.
It's crazy.
Now, do you know that when the men in black, what do you call them?
Film?
The G-men?
The
When the G-men roll through?
Yeah.
They encourage you, like, why? Yeah, what else did you see? And like,
Wow,
try
really?
to drain you for information, and then keep feeding you information to see how far you can push their actual surveillance.
Oh
or
shit!
whatever.
So it's like, well, tell me more. What happened?
Yeah.
And then they came down and wait. Okay, so what did they look like? Well, they look like this. Drink this water. Tell us more. I'm so tired. And then they just pass out, and then there you go. They take them, and that's
Wake up with a scar.
wake
on
up with a
their
scar on
head.
your head.
There's even been people like Dan Aykroyd. I remember Dan Aykroyd had his own UFO documentary where he was saying that he actually saw a UFO and actually was dealing with people following him that were dressed in black suits.
That's why
So
he made the Crystal Skull vodka.
Crystal skull.
Oh yeah,
Fuck.
Dan Aykroyd made that, huh?
Mhm. Yeah. It's Crystal Skull, and it's literally a crystal skull. That's the casing it's in,
Yeah.
and,
Why,
and
what's
apparently
the
gets you really fucked up.
What's the significance of the crystal skull?
Crystal Skull is tied to like an alien race. They ran it in Indiana Jones. They did an
They
exaggerated
did a
version
thing
of
in
it.
Ancient Aliens.
But basically, it's an ancient alien type, and then they left their remains are still here, and they're
Yeah,
crystallized skulls.
Supposedly, like 6 or 8 skulls are scattered like the Dragon Balls,
yeah,
and
and you got to put them together
you
to
have
summon
put
the
them
big
together
alien
to get
to grant your wish to get the actual Shinron dragon, so
Or
that you
something.
can get a wish from him,
Some
who
s-
gives you a genie lamp, and then you can make 3 wishes from there. So it's a really elaborate process, man.
They really got to cut the middleman of that shit.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I feel
Yeah,
like that was
hoard out.
it's a waste of wishes.
Hoard out through mass-produced vodka.
drink down this crystal skull, and an alien race will come to pick you up.
So Nug says, he said, make a hotline for abductees or counseling. Dude, if there's hotlines for abused bronies, there has to be a hotline for alien.
Of course, there's groups for that kind of shit too. They're
think
just
the
secretive. Everything's secretive.
Londa says, I think the hardest thing for people to admit is that they've been taken advantage of, especially by an alien race.
It is kind of like rape, no joke.
When you even describe it to somebody, you
Well,
do
he's-
sound.
Doug say alien trauma or probe trauma.
Yeah,
I mean, more
you do
specific.
sound pretty crazy when you say that. Yeah, something came out of the sky, took me right after I left the bar, and now I'm here. Can you pick me up?
Need a ride.
So let me go ahead with my friend Oscar's story. So he told me that a UFO was in the area the last few days, is what he was being told by his friend's dad, because he was spending the night. So he's like, a UFO was all around the area a couple times. I don't know if it's going to be here again, but it was around the area. He was passive on it. He was like, yeah, whatever, just
Whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
pass the pizza rolls. Pass the pizza rolls. I'm gonna spend the night. So, in the middle of the night, he gets woken up by his friend's dad, and he's like, "They're back! They're back! I told you guys they're back! Get up! Get up!" They rush from outside of the house, go to the front yard, and keep in mind this is in the middle of the morning. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Okay.
And he says it loud enough so neighbors around the area come out too, and they're all in the middle of the street, and they just see something glowing in the sky. What he wanted to describe it was just an object probably about 1.5 miles away that didn't make any sounds. Keep in mind, something in the vicinity of 1 mile to 1.5 miles can still make noise. Helicopters,
Right,
jets,
right.
etc. He said it was making no sound whatsoever. And with all that commotion being said, a cop rolls by. Thinking something's going on, some sort of commotion. And the cop goes out and is like, "What's going on? What's going on?
Is there blacks around here? What's going on?
Who do I need to shoot?" The police officer then gets persuaded by them to look up in the sky. And the cop was like, "Oh, what's going on?"
I'm not falling for that
Like-
again. And then
And he's even questioning of what's going on. And so the crazy part ends up happening where he was saying that the UFO ended up releasing like 3 or 4 pods from underneath it. So it started jettisoning some pods underneath, and those things were floating. Those things were equally as silent as the craft that it was getting shot out from. And the last question I asked him, I was like, so what else happened after that? He was saying, since they're close by Ontario, a 747 rolls through right by the airport, and he says as soon as that happened, that thing zigzagged out.
Oh shit!
And just disappeared.
Oh.
So went those little pods as well. Mm-hmm. So you figure a story like that with witnesses, with attention to detail,
with an officer present,
with it being 10 o'clock at night, hearing strange sounds like the ice cream man.
It is 10 o'clock at night, and there's an ice cream man there outside.
That's freaking nuts.
Yeah, that's even weirder than what we just discussed right now.
Well, you can either pick up a strawberry sundae or some crap.
I know, yeah.
Get some other treats.
You want some late night?
I need some candy. You know what I'm talking about.
Ice cream and stuff.
But
just vanilla ice cream with crack on it. That sounds kind of delightful.
The one thing to take away from a story like this is that multiple witnesses. There's tons of attention to detail to it. Mm-hmm. Credible source. Mm-hmm. I can especially attest to that. He's the type of guy that won't say anything unless there's validity to it. You know, he just doesn't say nothing for nothing. You know.
Yeah.
But that's what you need. You can't be alone telling a story about a UFO. You have to have people alongside you to vouch for it. Like, if I saw a UFO with Andre and we were at a party and like I want to tell that story, but ask Andre, look what happened.
I'll deny that shit though.
The thing
just to make it hard on him
all day.
The downside to it,
don't trust this guy. Okay, whatever he tells you.
I know he's drunk. He's
just trying to fuck you. You know that, right? But I'm a guy. I know.
The issue that comes along with this is that he didn't film it. No one filmed it.
Yeah, I mean,
and
a lot of I could see why a person wouldn't though. It's just I'm so in awe. I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. I forgot how to do things.
I would be the deer in the headlights kind of guy, and I'd be in that same situation where I don't know what to do at this point. Mm-hmm. I would be alongside. I'd be there on the same side. I remember even our friend Jason. Mm-hmm. He was saying he saw a UFO too. He saw a UFO while he was in traffic, and my dumbass was like, "Well, why didn't you film it?" Well, A, he was driving.
Right.
B, you're just when you're
B
when you
reference A. I mean, you know,
B,
all of the above.
When you're driving and when you're stuck with that deer in the headlights look, you're kind of at a loss because you still need to focus on the road. There's too many elements to go with at that point. Mm-hmm. And like the main thing that we can get from Jason and from Oscar's
these are not their names. These are just monikers
from their story is that the crafts fly away at such incredible speeds, and to note that they were going fast is to say that they're going faster than modern aircraft. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because we know how fast jets can go. We know how loud they can get when they go that fast. Oh yeah, so Oscar. Oh yeah, he actually showed up. So I didn't. Well, he's actually putting himself out there now. Great.
No, this isn't the Oscar that we think it is.
Yeah, he's like,
this is just like a friend.
So he even puts on the YouTube comments. Thank you, Oscar, for providing us that story and giving me the permission to say it. It's like I didn't film it because it was 2005. I had no phone.
Oh, yeah.
Even with the Razr phone at that time, because around 2005 you would have. So 2 megapixels of Fury up in the night sky, just at night, just trying to get some big dot.
Yeah, that's first. All of those are wrong. It's the worst environment to film any shit. Even with the cameras we have today, people still can't get some of this shit with really good cameras.
My camera can't even get that, and I take pretty decent photos.
Yeah, but how many UFOs do you come across?
Exactly.
I can't say. This is even on a declassified show.
Just 2. I know for sure 2.
But the thing that's odd about this is just it's crazy to see that a lot of people are able to come forth once you ask them about a story of UFOs. Mm-hmm. You know, I just enjoy the fact that people are actually able to be upfront and discuss it once they're asked, because some people shy away from it. You know,
yeah, they do. Wrestling and alien stories, I've noticed people
shy away. It's not really a public type of discussion.
So now I have my friend. I think I'm more able to judge a person's word face to face more than a video.
Yeah, I know. I usually, if a person's telling me a story along that line, I have my hand kind of creviced over their face, kind of like a blind person would do, and just making sure that the facial features are a little more genuine in comparison.
Muscle tension.
Yeah, I want to make sure the tension is real because you could have trained to tell this story. You know, I want to make sure this is authentic.
Have you talked to crazy people though?
Oh, I love crazy people.
They believe what they say.
But you never know.
It's scary.
You never know what's going on in there. You know, he might be on a big bag of meth.
No, they usually are. They usually are on that bag. I remember I was waiting for an NES Classic at a GameStop in Pomona, and that's already my mistake. Waiting in the middle of the night in Pomona.
Oh, you're talking about old girl.
And this crazy, loony girl claimed that she was one of Charles Manson's last disciples that was with her.
Did the math check out?
No, it didn't.
No, it
she
didn't.
was
She was
close. Late 40s. And I was like, you'd have to be negative 10, 12 years old to be kind of in that ballpark, even as a little kid.
Right.
And even threw some things at her that any avid fan of Charles Manson would know, and didn't check out. Yeah. So I was like,
and our mistake is we always talk to people. So we immediately regretted the decision. Immediately. Oh, she's fucking nuts. There we go. We're stuck with her. I don't know how she got. You called the cops on her or something? Or wait.
Yeah, I told her that she was soliciting
sex.
Yeah, so but that's
she was soliciting whole.
That way the cops would come faster.
Yeah, and then they showed up and they knew who she was.
They're like, "Come on, guys, you really think she's soliciting sex?" I'm like, "No, you're right, but I want her out of here."
She's safe either way.
Yeah. So I have Flavio's. I have my friend Flavio's story here, and I'll
and that's not his name. These are monikers.
Once again, these are monikers here on the Mark and Andre Show, Declassified. Once again, this is a non-sanctioned podcast episode 66. UFOs more closer than you actually know.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, download this because it will be taken out pretty soon.
Yeah, so as quick it's literally being deleted as it streams.
As soon as I put it on Spreaker.com, make sure to download it before it gets taken off the several IP addresses that we have faked up.
We had to hack our own account.
We have offshore IP addresses that we have
people in India streaming this for us, for you guys.
Decoding it as we speak. So Flavio's stories goes like this, and I quote, I remember it felt like we were looking at those lights for like 2 or 3 hours, but at most it was 25, 30 minutes. So it could be a factor of missing time there.
Okay.
My parents were heading back, and by the time they got there, the two and last set of 3 pulsing lights had sunken back down below the hill. And the first set of 3 lights that showed up was the last set to leave. Okay. And it went straight up, fast, but not super fast. The lights blinked and pulsed red, white, and blue, like a cop light set, but in a spread out triangle, maybe 20, 25 feet in size. Mm-hmm. It was big, but not huge. Try to scale that. The lights made no audible noise. They were maybe a mile away, up above a hill, and they originally came from a different location from the hill range below it. Mm-hmm. But they met in a large triangle shape and just hovered over there. No wavering, no tilting, just hung. Dad said he's seen orange orbs come out of that hill range, and there are only farms and ranches in that area, with the small lumber mill down below, but it wasn't actively running in the middle of that night. It was quiet and clear, mid-June. The ocean was about 15 miles directly west. So this...
Sounds like the same one.
I know, it's probably that same one.
It's the same guy. It's just...
The triangle formation in UFO history has always been it's always that or the disc. It's either one of those two. The Phoenix Lights. I remember the ones that hung over in the Midwest. I remember in the 80s. Same thing, triangle shaped. Mm-hmm. Those are like the 2 go-to shapes for aliens. I think it's probably like aerodynamics or anti-gravity. Who knows? But I'm just an observer of the night sky. What do I know? But
we catch a lot of celestial beings in our wrestling observatory.
Exactly. And same thing with this story. Mm-hmm. Attention to detail. That's what you need. If any of you guys ever decide to look up at the night sky one day and then you perhaps see an unidentified flying object, I encourage you to try your best to film it, not run, and to actually get all the notes, details, where you're at, just to make sure that when you either retell this to the Men in Black, that you actually have a file of it so you won't forget, But you actually have one for yourself, and you're able to tell that story with confidence again and again. Because if you tell a shitty UFO story, and it starts out with, well, me and my friends are drinking, and lo and behold, we see this blue triangular object out in the sky. Mm-hmm. Sounds kind of fishy.
It's not going to work.
But if you accommodate that with a film, perhaps pictures too, mm-hmm. You become more. There's a lot more validity to your story at that point.
Do you think shitty UFO stories come from a botched memory wipe?
It could.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with something that you simply can't put logic to. So, at the end of the day, anything is possible.
True.
It's kind of like you said it to infinite when you really think about it. Yeah.
Even the fact of missing time to us humans seems crazy, mm-hmm. because time is one thing that we work our everyday lives on. For someone to actually, for some like higher being and to actually manipulate that, it goes beyond us. Mm-hmm. Can't understand that. We only know that time goes like this, mm-hmm. but in a factor of missing time, they slow that shit down.
Mm-hmm. Well, the concept of time, is not lineal. You know that, right?
You can go into semantics too if you want, but I mean,
GSP, George St. Pierre, the world famous.
Oh, the world famous UFC fighter, not doctor or not scientist.
Yeah. What are you saying? First of all, this goes with what you were saying earlier.
Was this before or after a fight? Post interview?
This guy was ridiculed for coming out and saying that he believes he's been abducted by aliens because of missing time, because of weird things that's happened in his life. Mm-hmm. And that story is kind of tainted because he could be dealing with brain damage or brain trauma.
Okay.
So, but the stories and the events that he talks about are pretty eerily related to UFO abduction stories.
Also, you don't forget shit like that.
You don't
forget that.
But you're also getting punched in the head.
Yeah, but in GSP's case, he was less punched in the head than I know. Punch drunk. Punch drunk is
Muhammad Ali.
Not Muhammad Ali, but
James Tony.
Frazier.
Yeah. Roy Jones.
Roy Jones punch drunk sometimes when he talks. Even
Frazier again.
Who was that guy?
Frazier. Don't forget about
who was that guy
Frazier.
that Meldrick Taylor?
Yeah.
The dude Meldrick Taylor got punched into oblivion. He talks like this all the time. And it was like he talks like Sylvester Stallone at the end of the Rocky movies. Mm-hmm. You know? But the way that GSP talks, he talks still talks eloquently. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, but that's only 5 minutes you hear him talk out of his whole life. Like when the camera's off or when he's at home, he could be
stupid. He just turns that off. Well, you know, anytime it's live, you should be more nervous to speak than ever. Yeah. I know he's put to the test like that. Landa has a quick question for us on the tubes of you. Mm-hmm. Do you think that it sometimes could be multiple objects giving the appearance of one large ship? It usually appears to be something of that sort in the stories and videos I've come across.
Yeah. That's a great question.
The main idea is this: it's either one big solid craft, or when you see the lights together forming in like V formation or circular formation, there's always usually that one that just jets out of that formation. Mm-hmm. After that, you can't really say it's a solid craft, because once it parts like that, it's obviously small little ships at that point.
But also, I mean, these things might not be seeing what's actually there. You know, it's always like some ominous light.
Yeah.
And it could really be a craft larger than the light itself, and it's just cloaked in some kind of way. Maybe the light can't be cloaked.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been discussions of like people studying the clouds and going, that's not a real cloud. Like, this cloud doesn't match with the family of cloud that's next to it, mm-hmm. and it's moving unnaturally. Like, there's a flow to certain clouds. They'll say like it's moving completely absent to the rules of the cloud that it is.
Yeah.
And basically they're saying that there are clouds that are cloaked as ships.
You have one of those photos available, like where the over Cape Town, the Cape Town photo.
Oh yeah.
Where it looks like, and you can actually bring a lot more attention to detail when that photo comes up, Andre. Those are just ink blots.
Yeah, that one right there. So that could be a great example. That those don't even look like natural forming clouds. And they kind of look like boobs.
So Landa actually says it's solid like the flying V formation in the Mighty Ducks. Powerful formation, but that same formation in the Mighty Ducks couldn't contend with that of the varsity in D3. Remember that. Remember, do not mess with the varsity. That is one of the most powerful quotes in sports movie history.
He was ready. Like he had that ready to go.
Yeah, that's one of my main gripes about that movie. Anyway, so let's just quickly go through the history of the sightings, and then I'll go into the main big one here. So there's been sightings as early as the 1890s, recorded through newspapers, credited newspapers, not just your everyday dirt sheets. You know what I'm saying? So the 1890s. So this is way before the Wright brothers took flight in 1903. The flying saucer era came to a boiling point during the Roswell crash of 1947. So from the 1950s to the 1960s, up to about 65, 70, nothing but UFO space movies like It Came from Planet X. Just this bunch of really crazy sci-fi movies.
Oh, this wasn't the Roswell I was looking for.
You could go ahead and get that front newspaper, the Roswell Daily Record. I think my grandfather actually has one of those replica papers because he lives in Roswell, New Mexico. Family out there, yeah. So I was actually there in the museum that they had scale models of that gray alien.
No way.
The UFO museum in Roswell is no bigger than like a tool store, like a regular mom and pop hardware store. No bigger than that, but it's still chock full of crap. We put our little pin there on Rialto because where we came from.
Oh shit!
That whole map is just littered with everyone from all walks of like the globe.
Oh, you draw the places I poop pin right there?
Yeah, it's kind of like places you shit in, but the places where people are from that visit the museum.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
That's right.
So to summarize this story really quickly, a ranch hand at a farm finds the craft, or what the remnants of that craft, basically finds a bunch of metal like shards, and so he gets these shards, and then he sees it, but this kind of metal is able to do things that solid metal can't do. It actually crushes up, and once you let it go, it actually flattens up, as per the documents. He was saying, like I mentioned, the debris could be folded, bent, and it would immediately take back the solid form. Once the debris was recovered, a military officer then took it to his family very quickly before he took it to the airbase. So there's actually someone beyond the military that can attest to the fact that there's this metal that was able to do the same characteristics that I just described. You're able to bend it, and crush it, takes back the solid form. So there's actually one kid that's associated with the military family that can say that, yep, I saw it too. So someone beyond this ring of like military classification and like farmhands, there's actually still one witness alive for that.
Somehow.
Then, yeah, no, that's really crazy. So the same guy we're talking about, this is Major Jesse Marcel. He passed away in 1980, but before he died, he gave a testimony describing that the craft, trying to put validity towards that the craft in Roswell that crashed in 47 wasn't man-made. He also mentioned that one of the pieces of that debris was an I-beam, and it's like in steel construction, an I-beam is just one. It's a standing flat piece of metal that starts up top like this, and then has two ends like an eye.
Yeah.
Yes,
capital I.
He was saying alongside the flat parts of the I-beam is ancient hieroglyphics, and he specified that it resembled closely to Egyptian hieroglyphics. So take that as it may. It may have been any kind of hieroglyphics, but nonetheless, that's what he wanted to mention. Further into the story, the Army Air Base in Roswell was the last place where these fragments and carcasses were last seen. These the reports out saying that same farmer that reported the crash fragments was detained for that whole time, from the crash to the time they reported it with that front page newspaper, to then when they actually came out and said flying saucer was actually down weather balloon. He was actually detained that whole time. So after that, he was able to come back. The last report that came out from someone outside the military it was someone that actually owned a funeral home. So someone at the airbase actually ordered a few small caskets, childlike caskets for an airbase.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy at the funeral home kind of found it odd that he would be asking for small caskets.
To go.
Yeah. And so he brings the caskets, and he was actually able to see these aliens lying on the ground, being put in the caskets, being put in a case, and being driven away.
That sounds fun, man.
So they're saying that from the time they get driven, from the time they're actually loaded up, they get driven out to what is it? Dayton, Ohio. There's an airbase in Dayton, Ohio that may have the last remnants of whatever happened at the Roswell crash. So can you imagine the type of pandemonium that was in 47?
Oh man, it must have been fun.
With the newspapers and everyone just giving the idea that a flying saucer actually crash landed.
They wouldn't even understand it, especially back then. You know, like not saying we were dumber back then, but it's such a rare occurrence. You couldn't take it seriously. It wouldn't even be worth that emotion. You know what I mean?
I kind of disagree, because the fact is that a lot of people were taking
pills.
Then he puts the alien up. But the fact is that everyone took the newspaper was a serious source of information.
Mm-hmm.
So to have the headlines of that saying that a flying saucer actually crash landed versus actually seeing one in the night sky or in the daytime and not doing anything, it's. I would say it's more intense than the average run-of-the-mill UFO sighting. But still, it's just, I could just imagine just some guy waking up in the morning with his coffee and just, oh, shit, like reading the fact that it says flying saucer in the middle of that.
A flying saucer, though, like.
That's how it was,
Saucer plate.
Even back in, like in the Bible, when in the first chapter of Ezekiel even attests that he saw something in the sky. And when we go to earlier records of what people try to witness in the sky, they don't know what flight is. They don't know what's supposed to look like. You know, it's only up to their description of what they know. And when I was reading some declassified texts, I actually came across one solid piece of info where it said we can only take what we know about extraterrestrials from actual civilizations of intelligence, where there actually had documented records. You know, there had to be a civilization of some substance. You can't take petroglyphs in caves and take what they had as validity. You know, so if, for example, you can't take cave drawings versus if someone actually in ancient Rome put into detail what they saw in the night sky to the best of their ability.
Right.
You would take that more serious than what you would see in a cave.
Than some fucking sketches.
Or even have what you would have in hieroglyphics. I mean, even look at that, what we have there. It's what he's pointing at. So what I'm seeing here is we have like two tits.
It looks like a boob. Yeah. Like
we have a rack there. Not literally a rack, but a rack.
A rack of boobs.
And then we have an exclamation triangle thing, like a hazard, and then above it is the UFO. No, not there, right there. He's like, oh no, but that's a circle I see in the sky all the time.
And then we have this black thing that looks like an arrow.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like they kind of veered off of their path of whatever they were doing.
Yeah, they probably that's probably like a scribble.
Yeah.
Ancient scribble.
So what do you think about that, Adrian? Let me get your perspective on that, since you're the only one that we can pick your brain at real quick. Not like an autopsy, but just ask you a few questions. We're just here to ask you a few questions, Adrian. Okay. There's nothing.
Am I all right?
Where were you at Roswell in 1947? Where were you at? I'm just kidding.
Can we speak to my lawyer?
He's not going to be able to see you.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the pandemonium you would have had if you actually you were a citizen of Roswell, New Mexico, and you actually saw that somewhere nearby there's a flying saucer that crash landed?
That'd be scary as all hell, man. You're probably boarding yourself up in your house every night.
The
shotgun in bed with you.
Yeah. Keep in mind the idea of extraterrestrials. The main thing that we got across with film, what we got across with anybody is that they're hostile.
Yeah,
that's how they were painted in after the Roswell crash happened. From the 50s to the 60s, all you had was like anything science fiction was just aliens came down from a flying saucer and attacked.
Now, why do you think that is? Because the aliens are unfathomable, or is it because humans get scared, they panic at a spider? So thinking of an alien coming by, they're going to immediately take it as a threat.
I would say that what happened in Roswell in 47, where it actually immediately became a cover-up, was a sign that A, we're not ready, B, we do take it in fear, and producers saw that opportunity to make money. And that's why we had the, just the sci-fi boom of just random alien movies where invaders from Mars. We had
The Blob.
The Blob, yeah. Same thing. Yeah, man, it's just crazy expectations, especially because the Roswell story is the creme de la creme. This is the only instance where something actually crash landed and was documented to this extent, especially with quick military involvement.
So, or what makes you think it's not? Because what does UFO stand for?
Unidentified flying object.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's alien.
Right.
Do you think the reason it was covered up so quick is because it was something the government was working on that failed trial runs and crashed, and they wanted to scrape it up.
Turn left, Gary. Gary, turn left. Oh God! And there we go.
They wanted to scrape up the damage as quick as they can, so no one tries to find out, or at least take a piece of the technology from themselves.
Yeah. I agree. It's just like the fact that the military knows where to be at the right amount of time leads me to believe that there's involvement that we don't know about.
Whether they're tracking it as soon as they came into the
yeah, they probably already knew it was here.
Whether it be extraterrestrial or even man-made crafts.
Yeah.
But the fact is that when people start describing the same alien gray look throughout various descriptions, even in ancient Mayan hieroglyphs too, that they actually will show you that they describe an alien gray the same way, and it's been done again.
What's an
and
alien
again.
gray? You keep saying that. What is that?
It's basically the almond-shaped face, the black beady eyes, the no nose, the small slit for a mouth. Usually talks to you via telepathy. Same guy, the kind of like that.
Yeah.
Or the shitty ones described in South Park. The ones that just like the ones that are just moo. It turns out cattles are the smartest thing. But yeah, same. But once that description is being passed through all courses of history, it kind of gives you the idea of like, yeah, people have been seeing those guys for a long time. Whether they be a lot of people are saying they're even just military officers coming back from time and just fucking up multidimensionally and crashing.
That's tight.
You know what I mean?
Have you seen you want to get to this comment real quick? I think it's because writers of fiction draw parallels from what modern civilizations do upon discovering untouched civilizations. Is why aliens are always portrayed as hostile.
A good example would be when the Spanish came in and brought Catholicism to the Mayans.
There you go.
The Mayans were shocked that they thought that the guys riding in with the horses were one being.
Oh,
because they never saw horses before at all.
Yeah.
Crazy shit. Yeah. So they
were just terrified.
They thought they were gods because they came in like metal. They came in metal armor
with materials they've never seen before.
Were in armor and shit. And they were just like, yeah, these guys are just gods.
Have you
centaurs?
Have you heard that interview on the radio where the guy called in saying that he seen a UFO, or he was basically breaking, I guess he was a government. He worked for the government.
He worked at Area 51.
And then he came out and said, all right, aliens exist, this and this. They want this. These are their intentions.
Yeah.
And then he calls back a week later saying, well, he called like crying in a panic because he's so fucking scared of what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then he calls back a week later like, yeah, sorry about calling into your... Like,
sorry, I was on Molly. It's okay.
No.
Exactly like...
I was just a little bit drunk.
I was a
little gay. And that's just what happened.
I was in a gay mood.
Have you heard that? He's like, I was in a panic state, and I know I called and said some irrational things.
Was it on Coast to Coast?
What?
Probably. Well, that's the go-to radio paranormal show that I go to.
I don't think so.
I personally haven't heard it.
It was actually an old show, like 15, 20 years ago.
Because the go-to sci-fi shows that we have is the Coast to Coast AM 640, and then the Mark and Andre show. the only film, entertainment, and conspiracy theory podcast on Spreaker.com. We'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to the Mark and Andre Show, Declassified. Once again, this podcast episode is non-sanctioned by our sponsors. The thoughts and opinions expressed are only the ones of Sound Lad number 1, Mark and Andre. And they have no... the thoughts and opinions expressed do not directly affiliate with Lyricology 101.
I believe it was...
Just to save you.
Just in case.
Like, hey, man.
My subscribers are gone.
He's like, I like your rap stuff, but what your views
This
on
alien
aliens...
shit? Nah, man. I don't fuck with that, man. You know me. I'm in the
Keep
hood,
that to
dude.
yourself.
Keep that to yourself, B.
Okay, Art Bell, 1997. It's
Art Bell, 1997.
The
Okay.
Frantic Caller, Area 51, The Frantic Caller. So you guys look that up on YouTube.
Okay, and then I'll trade you with the incident at Lake County. I'll trade you that one. You guys got to watch that, dude.
Okay.
But nonetheless, I feel that we can come to a close with a couple questions. And let me ask you first, Adrian.
I think you should ask Andre questions because he's not entirely convinced that this is either real or...
But see, Andre's is Teflon.
Yeah.
Nothing. If he even meets aliens...
I'm like, let's go. Where are we
that
going?
possession right there?
If he even...
They did it?
If Andre meets aliens, he's like, hey, guys, what can I do to help?
They're like, what are you trying to do? What do you want to learn from us?
Don't.
He's that
We're going to
Teflon,
cut you
dude.
open and dissect you. If it's going to
There you
hurt?
go.
Yes. Well,
Just
fuck
give him
it.
your head. Here you go.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Andre's at a point where it's just like, yeah, he'll just grease the ball that rolls downhill.
Yeah, let's go. Let's roll, man.
Which isn't a bad
You guys
thing.
came to visit me. I mean, I might as well help you, motherfuckers.
Which isn't a bad thing, because the moments I stress out, he's like, what's wrong, man? It's all right. It'll be all right.
Chill, man.
You're stressing over bills, and he's like, aliens can...
Aliens.
Yeah, aliens can
Aliens
come and
don't
abduct
even
you,
pay
it'll be all
bills.
right.
Yeah. Aliens will take you away from your bills, man.
No. He's like, I just did a seance to make it all happen. You'll be all right. They're coming right now.
Hey guys, yeah. So my buddy here has bills. We'll dissect them. Perfect.
Will that take care of my bills?
No,
How long will I be out? How long a missing time would I get?
it'll be years, but it'll only feel like 10 minutes here.
Oh, hyperbolic time chamber. So, let me ask you real quick, Adrian, before I get to Andre.
Yeah, hold on real quick.
The let him get a quick couple. The ultimately, what do you think about? What's your overall opinion about UFOs and even extraterrestrials? Do you believe that they're both in the same hand? Or do you
UFOs
think,
and extraterrestrials?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as technology advances, UFOs can... Anything you think of a UFO is probably something that's man-made, already being worked on, and tested out already.
via
But as
backwards
far as-
engineering, good.
Yeah, or reverse engineered or anything. I don't know, dude. Like, it's ignorant. It's actually asinine to think that we're the only intelligent life form in this whole fucking universe. I mean, look at the sky.
Word.
Look how much,
Shit is up there.
for lack of a better word, space is up there for anything to exist. So it's all a matter of time.
Space matter?
Space matter of time. It's all a dark matter of time before we get visited again. I'll go ahead and say again, because it's weird that our life can our life form can thrive like this on the planet without anyone noticing, anything else noticing. So
Yeah, especially since we Voyager 1 has all our information. We literally sent a beacon ratting us out into the universe.
a snitch beacon.
Snitching.
Yeah,
Just
giving
out
our
there.
coordinates, our sex,
The wars we've had.
our
Yeah.
mixtape, our music that we've had with dogs barking.
We dropped dime on
Yeah,
the entire...
we informed the entire universe via Voyager 1, which has reached the outside part of our solar system already.
Which isn't anything.
Right. It didn't get anywhere.
It didn't get anywhere.
The
Just some asteroid just hits it. After all that effort.
that spacecraft's like, shit, we need gold. Let's get that gold record that's on Voyager 1. I knew we were going to need that. They just take the gold record for some fuel. That's the
Was that what you were talking about? They actually sent a satellite out with that's like playing music.
Voyager 1, yeah.
Oh, okay.
1970s, the NASA sent out Voyager 1 that has all the records of... On a gold record, it has few songs, and then it has the sound effects of nature, dogs barking, cats, animals, etc.
No way.
And then
it's
there's
just playing it.
there's a gold plaque that has a fully outlaid man, woman, and then where we are in the universe, which I thought was kind of weird because it's on
like
a flat
it's like-
surface.
Yeah.
And for them to give information of where a planet's at in a big, vast universe, kind of like
in a 3-dimensional
I
space.
was like, you can't give 3-dimensional directions on a 2-dimensional plane.
They basically checked in.
That was
checked
us.
in with the fucking beacon. So
That was us nerding out for a second. You
Right.
can't give 2-dimensional directions on a 3-dimensional plane. But it's true though.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Andre. So let me ask you this. So same question that I asked Adrian. Do you think that extraterrestrials and the unidentified flying objects that we see, that humans see on a daily basis, share the same hand?
No.
Okay.
Next
Next question.
I know. That is true.
No, I mean, are you asking? I mean, all these different vessels and ships, do they all have similar goals, or what are you getting at?
I would say, like based on what you've been,
Hashtag similar goals.
yes, so based on what you were given via information. Do you think that extraterrestrials are piloting these unidentified flying objects? Do you think
Absolutely.
there's military involvement?
Absolutely. There's both. Okay, so without a doubt that military's been catching these ships and then reverse engineering them. There's been a number of crashes in the past few years. There was one in Alaska. It was huge crash. And what happened was people were taking pictures of it live. So when it happened, they were posting it on Facebook. So it was this huge craft, and it crashed in the ice, and it's gone. Don't even look for it. I think within 2 or 3 hours, they literally shut down all the power in the area, and then they confiscated all images, and anything affiliated with images from that crash were removed, and a lot of people ended up missing. So we have no clue what happened to these people, but a large majority of them ended up just gone. The area where the ship crashed, they just completely cut it off from society. So it's no one ever heard it from it again. Like, that was it. And I just happened to be like live when that happened, so I saw all the photos, the images, the video footage, people freaking out, and then within like 2 or 3 hours, it was all gone. So, from my perspective, what happened was it crashed, and then military got a hold of it, reverse engineered it, of course, figured out what they can do with it, and then they started attaching it to their own technology. I mean, District 9 is the best example of what they do. So in District 9, they basically stole their technology to get weapons. And that's what we're doing. We're just using their technology to develop our shit. And sometimes we'll see some really crazy stuff, and that's the military practicing with their shit. Remember that giant blue missile thing?
Yeah, that was like floating in the sky.
Yeah.
And,
They said, so somebody broke it down. So that was some kind of alien situation. And what we didn't see was there was another missile that came to hit that. So,
the most recent one.
Yeah.
Everyone had that on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they swore up and down that this was a missile. The slowest missile I've ever seen being shot from any type of cannon.
And with the spread that it had and the colors, it was unnatural.
That-
But yeah, no, without a doubt, I'm like
that
you.
was Goku, though.
It was. I was
Goku,
taking
man.
pictures hoping to see Goku. But yeah, I'm just like you. I'm just like, yeah, that doesn't even make sense that we're the only live here on in this. You don't even know how big it is. You can't fathom it. Our mind is not capable of even expanding to think about how large.
Once you get out of that realm, thinking that you're not the big fish in the pond, you then realize, well,
It humbles that ass.
the more you go out into space, the more smaller the Earth becomes, and the more
Of a speck of dust.
futile everything becomes.
We are a
including
speck of dust.
walks of faith, everything, etc. Everything that has meaning, just becomes smaller.
Hell yeah.
Very quickly, Landa Calrissian has a story here. I have a UFO story. My lady woke up to the house shaking and a loud rumble. She said I was holding the blinds open and I was staring at a large object hovering over the tree line. She turned over and forced herself to sleep. Did not want to believe what we had seen. I had no recollection of this the next morning. She swears on it not being a dream. So even Landa Calrissian might have a fact of missing time. Could happen, man. It's for a long time, man. I felt that, like after I went deep in the rabbit hole of like looking up UFOs and everything, I felt paranoid of the fact that I might be sending a beacon of making myself available to these extraterrestrials. I felt like that. Call me crazy, but it felt like that, man. I felt scared as all hell. But yeah, to go back to your point, man, it's just, it makes you think, man. After you get further and further away from from Earth and start talking about the outer reaches of space, it just becomes the planet becomes smaller.
I mean, when you scale our sun to the other suns, the sun becomes less than a decimal. You know,
Might be even
our
giants,
sun,
literal.
yeah, like we are nothing.
We are puny.
Puny.
We might literally be eating mini foods,
Right.
to other alien races. It's crazy.
We seriously could be specks of just particles because we're that small. So that's why I do go, man. How does a ship get here? I guess the surrounding planets aren't as
How doesn't a big ass ship just
right,
accidentally, skid us out?
Yeah, like destroy
fuck
everything.
Did I just hit?
You know?
We're like the roadkill in the galaxy.
Right,
We're just a
right.
small little.
You know,
Do you think pilots see a lot of shit in the sky?
Oh yeah, there was
Oh, my
recordings.
gosh.
There's a whole slew of recordings.
I could
of
do
like,
another show based on that.
yeah, there's a bunch of pilots like they recorded, talking through dispatch or whatever, and yeah, they're like, well, I got something over here. I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. It's flying faster than I've ever seen. Like, and they're going like Mach 3 and shit.
Just cut them off.
So there's like
Dispatch like fucking.
there's like whole videos of just different dispatch situations where they're talking about seeing something or something just flew in front of their plane, doing some shit that didn't make sense. Because I've been a pilot for 10 years, I've never seen anything like it. So, that kind of shit.
Jeez, that's exactly what.
That's funny as hell. Like, just
once he gets that up real quick, that's what I fear.
For real?
That's
Andre, you make it sound like it's not a bad, like a not good.
It's not a big deal. I mean,
oh yeah, it's not a big deal.
You guys are tripping.
You don't know what the hell they're gonna do.
Well, you've been asking about them. They probably want to talk to you.
Oh, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. Have you seen The Dark Knight? You have The Dark Knight on Blu-ray. Can we
Batman
watch
versus
it?
Superman was good.
In our galaxy, Batman and Superman is your Gone with the Wind, or is your Citizen Kane? With that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the Mark and Andre
Just
show.
creeping in the window.
The Mark and Andre show Declassified, where we are able to give you a non-sanctioned podcast based on once classified, now declassified information.
Be sure to save, download, and retweet this as much as you can because it will be gone.
It will
be gone off of the Tubes of You and maybe Spreaker as well. But I'm Mark Flores. Be sure to check, if you guys like wrestling, to check out the Pay-Per-View Wrestling Podcast. Also, a Smark and a Mark. Retro Collecting 101 and my various other podcasts on the Mark F Podcast channel on Spreaker.com.
Damn.
Exclusively streaming via YouTube on Mr. Stream Theme GTP is the Mark and Andre Show and a Smark and a Mark, so make sure to tune into that too. I'm going to leave it to my co-host, Andre Gaynor, for Lyricology 101.
Shameless promotion, Lyricology 101, youtube.com/Andre Gaynor. Thank you.
Way to put over your YouTube channel there, Andre. Make sure you guys tune in to Lyricology 101. Rap breakdowns, etc.
Rap.
Yeah, rap.
Okay. Hippie hop.
Oh, you guys are the hip hop one part of that. Rap hip hop.
Rap hop.
Even with me.
Hip hop's the culture, rap's the active.
Well, I stay woke.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that what all the cool kids say?
That's what every kid says.
Say,
Newborns.
Being woke on several degrees. I want to thank you guys once again for the Mark and Andre Show. This has been the Mark and Andre Show. Auf Wiedersehen.